Oh, good gosh. Gee willikers, Lois. So, in case you can't tell, today's movie commentary is going to be on James Gunn's Superman. Superman 2025, whatever you want to call it. The Superman reboot, the first movie in James Gunn's DCU, Superman Legacy, whatever, I don't really care. We're doing Superman today. Now, when it comes to this film, you either love it and you think it's like one of the greatest movies ever made, you think this is like the best superhero film ever made, or you absolutely despise it, bring back Zack Snyder, release the Snyder Cut even though it's already released, make Justice League Parts 2 and Parts 3, make the Ben Affleck solo film, James Gunn sucks, bring back Zack Snyder, sell, the rights to DC to Netflix. Or you could be like me and think that this movie is just okay. Like, as a fan of the character of Superman, the comic book character, this movie is just fine. It's not better than Richard Donner's Superman the movie, and I like Man of Steel more than this, but that does not make me a Snyder fanboy that hates everything bright and colourful and fun. No, there are things in this movie that I really love, there are things in this movie that I do like, but at the same time too, I am critical of this movie, and I will acknowledge there will be times where I point out something and I go, this is a nitpick, but for the most part, this video is meant to be like a balanced look at Superman. Right, have we got that out of the way? Is that clear? This is meant to be a balanced look at the film. Also too, you are well within your right to disagree with me. Just hear me out. But before we dive into the commentary, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow me on social media. It's all linked down in the description. Also, I am an actor and filmmaker myself, so check out my latest short film, The Singer's Tale. And also too, if you're watching this video within 7 days of release, make sure you press the hype button, because apparently that gets more people to watch the video. It boosts it in the algorithm's recommendations. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into the movie commentary for James Gunn's Superman, or Superman 2025. Okay, the DC Studios logo is pretty cool, and I hope that with each film in this universe, in this franchise, we open off with the Golden Age interpretation of said character. So I hope with whatever rendition of Batman we get in this, in Brave and the Bold, or the Batman Part 2, whatever, again, this is really annoying, this is really infuriating, because I see both sides of the argument on whether or not Robert Pattinson's Batman is the DCU Batman, despite Matt Reeves and James Gunn talking, but then again too, they've also both denied it. But anyways, the original point I'm trying to make is that I hope with Batman, the Brave and the Bold, we see the retro 1930s or 40s Batman with the purple gloves in the studio logo. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, that's a very cool detail, like right from the bat, James Gunn is going, yes, metahumans have existed, and it's pretty much an Easter egg to Vandal Savage. And whilst this opening text is cool at establishing that this world, this DC universe, is lived in, there are superheroes, there are metahumans, at the same time too, this movie doesn't feel like it's part of a big universe. Like it does, but it doesn't. Like when we get into this film's story, it's very self-contained, but at the same time too, we have things like the Justice Gang, but it's not established. But then we look at Superman, the character, he's got a costume with trunks. However, the costume itself is very contradictory, and we'll get into that. Like, this movie is bizarre to me because it feels like we are in a lived-in DC universe, but at the same time too, it's very self-contained. And the inclusion of the Justice Gang makes it even messier, makes it even weirder, because the Hall of Justice we'll get into it. So this is a nitpick, but the shot of Superman falling into the snow feels very made for TV. It feels very low budget. I don't know why. Maybe it's the way they shot it. Maybe it's the frame rate or the shutter speed, but it looks like it was made for TV. I've had this complaint all the way back from the trailer, but yeah, it doesn't look good to me. Now, this whole sequence with Superman and Krypto is one of the first things we've seen from this film. And it was pretty controversial, and still was pretty controversial, because you have some fans going, why the hell are they doing Krypto the Superdog? That's so lame. I'm not one of those fans. I think it's really cool that James Gunn included Krypto. And in comparison to the trailer, the way this scene is edited, it makes Superman way less wimpy. His screams aren't crazy exaggerated and high-pitched, you know, to add to the comedic effect. But at the same time too, this scene is meant to be playful as a joke. And the inclusion of Krypto in this film, this is the joke. Him just jumping on Superman. Him being a bad dog. It's very one note. It might be funny the first time, but again, this scene was heavily featured in the marketing. And obviously nowadays, now with films, marketing plays a key role in the creation of the film, in building hype for the film and getting audiences to go and see the film. And at the end of the day, the joke is fine, I guess. I'm kind of indifferent to it at this point. Okay, the way the Fortress of Solitude appears in this film is pretty cool. I really like it from a visual standpoint. Like, the visual effects are really good and just, yeah, it looks great. Do you know what's so baffling about the Superman robots and Superman's costume in general is that, like, in this shot here, it looks very rubbery, it looks very CGI. But you look at the behind the scenes making of this movie, they shot this for real. Like, even when in certain shots, the Superman robots are just men in motion capture suits, they actually built the robots for real. Maybe as like a visual reference for the 3D artists or whatever, but like, they built real stuff for this film. But I don't know why, at times, this film just looks really fake. And whilst we're at it, let's talk about the Superman costume. I don't like it because the costume itself is very contradictory. Yes, the overall silhouette is based on the New 52. However, it has the trunks. Now, I don't mind that the suit has the trunks. In fact, I kind of like that the suit has trunks. Again, when it comes to a Superman costume, trunks either work with the costume or they work against it. It depends on how you design it. You look at Henry Cavill's suit, Zack Snyder was going for this alien Kryptonian vibe, so he couldn't include the trunks. And when you see photoshops of Henry Cavill's Superman suit to look more classic, it works better with the trunks because the suit that the photoshoppers have designed make the costume fit. When you just randomly add trunks to the Zack Snyder costume, it's weird. But when you completely redesign it and you add the trunks, completely fine. Now, going back to the point that this suit is based on the New 52 suit because it's got the collar. Unlike the New 52 suit, this suit is not armor. It also fits David Corenswet really poorly, like it is not fitted at all. Now, certain fans go, oh yes, but his mum made it. Film never addresses that. And also going by the material and the way it's sewn, it doesn't look like that a human farmer from Kansas has sewn it together. And look, I know this is nitpicking, but like, seriously, when it comes to looking at the previous Superman costumes we've got on film, you look at the Christopher Reeve costume. That costume looks great on screen. This costume has its moments, but for the most part, it doesn't look good. And it doesn't showcase David Corenswet's muscles. Like, that's kind of the point of a superhero costume. It's meant to make the superhero look heroic. And at times, David Corenswet does, but other times, he doesn't. It just looks really ill-fitting and really poor and just... it doesn't look good. Bradley Cooper plays Jor-El. He was Rocket Raccoon in the Guardians films. Now, I like the casting of Bradley Cooper as Jor-El. It's a shame that Jor-El doesn't really do anything in this film. I mean, he does because of the message, but you know what I mean? Like, Jor-El isn't actively involved in this film.
The message was damaged in transit from Krypton to Earth.
Now, one of the issues I have with the writing with this film is this film has an exposition problem. This is the worst I've ever seen James Gunn at exposition. Like, this film constantly exposits information that characters in the scene should already know.
Our beloved home will soon be gone forever, but hope vitalizes our hearts.
Like, Superman knows what the message means. Why are the robots telling him the message? He knows what it means. They're only saying this so that we, the audience, can understand the message. Okay, going back to the suit again, just because, you know, I keep seeing it and it bugs me. Why isn't this suit fit him more? Why are there lines all over it? I've seen a Photoshop where they've like edited the suit to make it look a bit more classic, a bit more Superman-like. They've taken out the collar. It looks great. What is going on here? This just... no. Just... ugh. Again, too, I've seen people nitpick and complain like, oh, why is he screaming? He's being healed by the sun. He's not as cool as Henry Cavill. Like, he's being healed from, like, broken bones and stuff, like, instantly. Like, I do get it. Like, Superman should be more centered. Now, if this film was, like, week 1 Superman or something, day 1 Superman, I would get it. He's a bit inexperienced. He's young. All that kind of stuff. But, again, this is, like, a 30-year-old Superman. And he's so just, like, uncentered at times. But not in this scene. But at the same time, too, I do get the complaints. Now, one of the cool details I like about David Corenswet's Superman is that he doesn't swear. He's always just like, oh, gosh golly, oh, gosh darn it. Like, I love that about this Superman. He's so just, like, classic and so golden age whilst also being in modern times. Also, just want to say this now. I think David Corenswet is a fantastic Superman. He's a really cool actor. Everything I've seen about him in the behind the scenes, he just seems perfect for the role. And all the complaints I have about Clark Kent or Superman in this film aren't due to him, it's due to the writing and the directing, because in the behind the scenes, he seems more like Superman than Superman does in this film. And I won't lie, there are times where I wish that this film was actually about like a Superman that was like 20 years old, 22, 23, instead of this being a 30-year-old Superman, because the way he behaves in this film at times, it comes across more like he is a very young adult. But he's meant to be like 30, 33 years old. Like, there are conflicting things. But again, none of those issues are down to David Corenswet. I think David Corenswet is fantastic and he's going to be a brilliant Superman for years to come. And I actually saw a tweet that basically summed up David Corenswet as Superman perfectly. David Corenswet is as if Brendan Fraser was cast as Superman and got to play Superman in the 1990s. That's kind of like the perfect way to describe him, and now I kind of wish we did get a Brendan Fraser Superman film. And I mean, technically we do, because David Corenswet feels so much like Brendan Fraser. You know what I'm trying to say.
You must rest.
No can do, for I gotta get back to the fray.
So good. I love the like cheesy golden age cat. Gotta get back to the fray. Honestly, he's so good.
Superman robots, I thought I told you to keep an eye on him.
There are times in this film where James Gunn's writing feels very juvenile. Like, really, before this film, he didn't give them names. They're not like Kryptonian robots. What do you mean he just walks around going Superman robots? Like, was he always destined to become Superman? Is this version of Clark so self-important that he calls them Superman robots? Like, I mean, I guess so, because you're first himself in the third person, but like, it's just weird. It just feels very juvenile. This is gonna be the start of my rant about the cinematography in this film. This film was shot by Henry Brahms, who is a frequent collaborator of James Gunn. And for the most part, their films have looked pretty good. But also bear in mind that Henry Brahms shot The Flash, and The Flash looks terrible. And also going back to James Gunn and Henry Brahms collaborations, there is something that he's been doing recently. And this film is the biggest culprit of that, which is that James Gunn loves a wide-angle lens. This is going to be the nerdy film bro section of the video, so strap in and get ready for a little cinematography lesson. So lenses come in different focal lengths, and each focal length does something different. Right now, you're looking at a 35mm focal length for this lens that I'm shooting this video on. The lower in focal length you go, or the shorter in focal length you go, the wider the image becomes and the more distorted the image becomes. And the longer in focal length you go, the higher the number, the more compressed and the more flattering most images will look. So right now, we're on 35. Now we're at 50mm, which is kind of like the normal look. I mean, obviously, I haven't moved the camera back, but the actual way the lens is like filming the image, it looks pretty normal. This, for the most part, is the focal length the human eye sees at. Now we're at 70mm, and although we're zooming in, you can also see that the image is becoming a bit flatter, but in a more flattering way. It's doing something to my face. This is kind of like the focal length you would shoot a headshot at. But recently, this is not what James Gunn likes to do. James Gunn likes to get the focal length and go all the way out. And he wants his actors really close to the lens. And he's like, wow, look, we're flying. Look at how cool this looks. No, James, this isn't cool. This just distorts the image and makes it look weird. Now, bear in mind too, this is also like personal preference and stuff, because wide-angle lenses have their uses in film. Certain directors also love them. Whenever I use a wide-angle lens, it's to create an effect. It's to create a distortion. It's to make the audience feel uncomfortable. That's how I would use a wide-angle lens. But more recently, and in this film in particular, James Gunn just loves to shoot everything with a wide-angle lens and just it's not flattering, as seen with this upcoming flying scene.
The alien is on its way back.
Okay, this is a little bit of a nitpick because I know Superman is going off to fight the Hammer of Bravia, and that technically is more important. But how did he not hear or see the engineer down below and stop and go, huh, what does she mean by that? What is she doing here? Again, this is a nitpick, but like, it is a valid question. Okay, a couple of things about this, right? Because this is the flying scene where I love taking the mick out of the cinematography. But before we get on to that, I want to talk about the score, because David Fleming's score for this film is amazing. And like, yes, he's using the John Williams melody of dun 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 dun. And I do see the argument of, oh, that's lazy, that's like cheap nostalgia bait. It's just because audiences know this as the Superman theme. We want people to feel more hope and more bright optimism. So we're gonna use the John Williams theme to cash in on people's nostalgia. I get that. I complained about that when they kept using it for Henry Cavill whenever he would show up in cameos in the DCEU. But the difference is here is that this is a completely new rendition of Superman. When they used it for Henry Cavill, he already had a theme in Man of Steel. He had a theme in Batman vs Superman. All of a sudden, they just switched it up and they changed it because we needed to appeal to fans and make fans go, no, he's Superman, he's bright and hopeful and optimistic, we'll use the John Williams theme. But it completely went against the continuity of Henry Cavill's musical theme for Superman. But because this is a new Superman, we can now go, cool, we're setting the foundations, we're using the John Williams theme because we can. And really, at the end of the day, the John Williams Superman theme is Superman's theme. And when it's used in this movie, I love it. It's great. Like, Superman's on screen. Now strap in, folks. Are we ready for the cinematography rant? Because, oh boy, what are we doing with this wide-angle lens? Wow, look guys, I'm Superman. Whee! Like, honestly, it's so derpy looking. Like, I feel so bad for David Corenswet because, again, I've mentioned this before, but if I'm David Corenswet, I'll be like, James, what are you doing to my face? This looks bad. Now, the bit where he flips in the air is really cool until we get to derpy Superman face where his eyes are, like, really weirdly spaced out. And do you know what's really weird? It's like, they shot that full real in the sense of, like, they shot, like, the flying landscape in, I think it was like Sweden or Norway, somewhere. They played that on like the volume screen and they had David Corenswet strapped into this harness and they like flipped him in the air. That's really cool. But at the same time too, why isn't when we go to the other angle, he looks derpy and weird? And it's funny too because when there was a teaser showcasing that shot in a trailer, James Gunn was like, oh no, that shot's not in the film. I mean, he lied because it is in the film. It's a slight variation of the shot, but it's still in the film. Like, say what you will about Zack Snyder's Superman, but like, he knew how to shoot Superman flying. Like, no, I'm kind of being serious. I feel like one of the reasons why people absolutely love this scene in particular is because of the Superman music. Like, if you take out the music from the scene, people would just go, oh, it's pretty derpy looking. Like, Superman is just flying really statically, and he looks really odd and weird and just, I don't feel awe or inspiration. It just looks a bit weird. The only thing that makes this scene feel big and operatic and sensational is the music. Like, the way this is shot, it's pretty bad. Also, using the Richard Donner-esque Superman font is so pointless because what are we referencing? This film is so weird. Like, it's trying to be all nostalgia baity of like, oh yeah, you remember Superman. But this is pointless nostalgia bait. Like, using the Superman theme is nostalgia bait. But at the same time, too, it's the Superman theme. I'm not against using that music for a new interpretation of Superman. But using the Richard Donner font when this film doesn't really have anything to do with Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve's Superman, it's pointless.
Your Superman has abandoned you!
Okay, a fun little detail that I didn't realize in the cinema, but as the film came out on digital and such, we got all the behind the scenes. The Hammer of Bravia is voiced by David Corenswet because, spoiler alert, he's actually Ultraman, and Ultraman is a clone of Superman. But like David Corenswet being the Hammer of Bravia is a fun detail. And the behind the scenes clip of him voicing the Hammer of Bravia is so good. Like, you could tell he had so much fun making this movie.
Target in sight.
Oh god, my eyes, this film is so bright. We don't need to talk about the color grading for this film because I've just banged on about it for so much, but I have made a separate video, so after this one, go watch that one. Okay, so the video game-esque commands that Lex gives Ultraman to fight Superman, it's kind of dumb. It doesn't make any sense because like Superman should be able to hear him in the costume and he should be able to hear the commands. Although he doesn't know what they mean, he should be able to at least anticipate that he's about to get attacked. Now in this scene, I could excuse it at a bit of a push, but later on in the film, especially when Superman is talking to Lex directly through Ultraman, like, no, it kind of doesn't work. It's kind of dumb.
It's been studying him for years.
Holy exposition, Batman! Like, again, they work for Lex Luthor. They work in this control room. How does she not know all this? Also, I have no issue with Superman losing to the Hammer of Bravia because, as we later on find out, he's losing to a clone of himself. Like, Superman is pretty powerful in this movie. I don't really get the complaint of he's very depowered in this movie. Although, like, certain things like his superhero you can nitpick and you can complain about. I'm gonna say this now, Nicholas Hoult is awesome as Lex Luthor, although there are certain scenes where his lines are very on the nose and they're very, very heavy-handed. He's very good at delivering them. Nicholas Hoult is a brilliant actor. As we see later on where he gets to this whole, my envy is a calling model. He's so brilliant. Again, as I said before, I love the score to this film. Like, the Lex Corp theme is a banger.
Sorry about that. I'm so sorry.
Oh god, this film is so bright. Like, could they not afford diffusion on set? Like, seriously. Henry Brames, what are we doing here? Do you know what? People complained a lot about, like, the broccoli hairstyle for Clark Kent. It's kind of grown on me, and I kind of like it. Also, I didn't realize this, but, like, this is the only scene where we get a bumbling reporter Clark Kent. Like, huh? No! Like, this is the only scene where we get mild-mannered bumbling reporter Clark Kent, and this is pretty much, like, the only scene where he's at the Daily Planet and we see the Daily Planet crew. Even though the Daily Planet crew are in the rest of the film, this is, like, the only scene where they interact with Clark, and it's just... that's so weird.
Hey, Clark!
Now, this interpretation of the Kents, I'm still warming to it. Like, I don't hate it, but, like, yeah, they do sound very over the top, but then again, they are, like, farmers from Kansas. Like, I don't know. I'm still warming up to it.
That is something.
But I don't also think it's nearly as bad as some people make it out to be. I like this little non-verbal exchange between Clark and Jimmy. Like, again, it kind of adds into the idea of Superman's, like, you know, good old best pal Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, I doubt his parents named him that, Jimmy.
Wait, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane is fantastic. I have no notes. She's genuinely brilliant as Lois Lane. She's almost like animated Lois Lane ripped from that cartoon put on screen. She's amazing.
Oh, he didn't completely kick Superman's ass.
I also like the way David Corenswet plays Clark Kent. Like, he just plays him like an awkward dude, but like, he doesn't do like the high-pitched Christopher Reeve of like, oh, gee, Lois, He like plays him as like, just like kind of like a guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, he didn't completely kick Superman's ass.
Like, it's a different persona, and he's, like, deepening his voice, but he's making him more, like, meek and a bit, you know, more, like, quiet. It's just like, oh, no, Lois. No. I quite like it, and again, I really wish we got more bumbling reporter, meek, mild-mannered Clark Kent in this film. Like, I genuinely can't believe this is the only scene where we see him as bumbling reporter Clark Kent. Now, there is a lot of, like, speculation and rumor and commentary surrounding President Gurkos and whether or not he resembles certain, you know, real-life figures we have in today's modern political climate. James Gunn has come out and denied this, and he has also come out and said that the Jahanpur and Baravian conflict is not a stand-in for the Israel-Palestine conflict, but, like, pretty on the nose. Or maybe he is being truthful at the same time, but, like, in the film, the subtext is the subtext. But then again, too, he is like the head of a film studio, so he can't outwardly be like, yes, we're against certain political people. But at the same time, the film speaks for itself. Like, the way you want to interpret it can be the way you want to interpret it. It may not be Gunn's interpretation. And maybe it is. I don't know. Isn't that like the whole part of art sometimes? It's like to insert your messaging into the text. Maybe in like years down the road, he'll be like, yes, no, I actually did mean that. Filmmakers and directors, like, you know, say things like all the time for like PR and stuff. Who knows? But like the stuff between Jahanpur and Baravia is so Palestine and Israel coded that like it's hard to believe that Gunn didn't, you know, have that influence as writing.
So we're gonna lock up all metahumans now.
Now, I didn't watch Creature Commandos, but Frank Grillo is playing Rick Flag Sr. And in Creature Commandos, Rick Flag Sr. is like pretty much all grey haired. But in this film, he's got black hair. Frank Grillo did not dye his hair grey. Pretty weird continuity.
Yeah, we got this stuff. What's this kryptonite stuff called? It's called Kryptonite 12.
So on the one hand, I do kind of like the kryptonite joke, but on the other hand, like, I don't know, the way it's directed or edited, it's not as funny as it should be. Or maybe it's the way it's written, I don't know.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
Okay, the fact that James Gunn cut out the lean forward shot from the trailer in the actual film, that's a crime.
Miss Lane.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, that shot was so good, it really added like a lot to David's performance as Superman. You could see the shift from Clark to Superman. Why he cut it, I genuinely don't know.
Today, the Secretary of Defense said he was going to look into your actions in Bravia.
But now we get to the argument or the interview scene between Clark Kent and Lois Lane. And this whole scene is basically meant to be a critique of Zack Snyder's Superman. It's kind of treading over the whole grounds to the opening of Batman vs. Superman. Superman enters the country unilaterally. He's not given permission by the UN or by the governments of the countries that he's invading. I mean, he's not invading, you know what I mean? He's there to help, but he is still going against the UN and the overall governing bodies of said countries he's going into. And literally, this scene treads the exact same grounds, except for it doesn't present a solution. In many ways, it just makes Superman look like a man-child.
I flew him out to the desert, and I placed him against a cactus.
So you tortured him? No, he did torture him though. Like, again, it's so weird. People will criticize Zack Snyder's Superman and Henry Cavill's Superman, and they'll be like, oh, he's so, like, evil and horrible. He kills all these people. And yes, those films, like, visually depict Superman in a very strange way. At times, he's almost too godlike for his own good. But James Gunn's Superman does very similar things, except for some reason he can get away with it because they use the John Williams theme and the film is visually brighter. Like, again, I don't get it. They both did the same thing. Like, I kind of don't get audiences' reactions. Like, yes, Henry Cavill had less screen time in Batman vs. Superman to, like, flesh this out. But David Corenswet's Superman did the same thing, except for, you know, he's not considered to be the dour, depressing, broody Superman that thinks he has a god complex. No, instead, he's just seen as the bright, happy, optimistic one. Even they did the same thing. And also, too, throughout this whole scene, Superman, he's very whiny in the scene. He's very just unhinged. Like, he's just, like, sighing at Lois's questions and kind of just giving off this attitude of just, like, why am I dealing with this? Like, this shouldn't be a problem.
Yes, but you know that's very silly.
Yes, but you know that's very silly. I love, like, the little behind-the-scenes clip of David doing this and doing, like, the full twirl.
Do the twirl. Do it one time for us. So good. Yes, but you know that's very silly.
Again, love or hate James Gunn, he is a good director at the end of the day. Whether or not you agree with his, you know, vision for DC, different story. He is a good director though. He lets his actors have fun on set. He lets his actors like improv or like go with their gut instincts. That's the sign of a good director. He just constantly like gives them options or gets them to try things.
Consider the consequences.
People were going to die.
People were going to die! Now, I do get it. Superman is very like black and white in his philosophy, but at the same time too, Lois is raising like valid points and he's getting very stressed about it, and it's just like, you're in the wrong. But the thing is that, like, this scene doesn't come to a conclusion. This film doesn't really come to a conclusion. Superman still just goes into countries unilaterally. Like, this whole scene is meant to be a critique of Batman vs. Superman, but it falls into the same problem.
Hashtag super spy, hashtag super shit. Come on, Lois, you know that one specifically irritates me.
Super shit, come on, Lois, you know that one specifically irritates me. That line there is kind of a double-edged sword because it's kind of funny and it's kind of like a vocal stim that just like I incorporate. It's very fun. But at the same time too, it does kind of like play into the juvenile humor of this film. Like to James Gunn, he thinks that's very funny, but like, yeah, I'll allow this one. Oh boy, wide angle lenses just... I swear to God, on the set for Man of Tomorrow, someone just needs to like break all the wide angle lenses. Look, I know we're trying to make Lex Luthor look cool, but like, he should have flinched. Like, you can't just walk straight through a bunch of sparks in front of your face, like, that's just weird.
I've sacrificed my own humanity to help get rid of it.
Wow, thanks for the exposition there, engineer. Oh, hey look, we just got Superman saving people. This is great. I won't lie, my favorite parts of this film are all in the first half because for the most part, it's just Superman saving people. Like, that's kind of all I wanted from this film. And I get it. It's just that the plot also surrounding this film's a bit... whatever. Like, it's just Superman saving people. It's great. I love it. Looking, like, really strong and heroic, just, like, catching things. That's all I wanted.
Everybody okay?
Cool, we're just gonna stop for, like, 10 seconds and just go... Hey! Is everybody okay? Hey guys, this Superman isn't like Zack Snyder's Superman. He checks on people, and we're gonna make that really obvious that he checks to make sure everyone's okay, and that he doesn't cause a crazy amount of collateral damage that, you know, causes people to die. Even though, you know, for the purpose of the scene, we're just gonna stop all the action just because, you know, we have to make sure Superman checks on the people. Also, the stuff with Superman flying, just... yeah. Just a bit weightless, like they just made it all with CGI and just... I don't feel anything. I don't feel awe. I don't feel inspiration. I don't believe a man can fly. I mean, I'll believe a man can fly, but I don't believe that, you know, that's Superman on screen flying.
Everybody, clear the area!
Now, the existence of the Justice Gang, again, just confuses the universe because they've already been established. There are metahumans in this universe, but, like, there's a whole, like, superhero team, so, like, what makes the Justice League when they form and are created? What makes them special? Like, there's already a league in this universe. Like, yes, they're funded by Maxwell Lord or, like, somewhat supervillain from the comics, but, like, there's nothing special about the Justice League in this universe because the Justice Gang exists. And again, the action for the most part is pretty weightless. Like, I don't feel anything watching this. This is just visual noise. And again, similar to the Superman crashing shot, that, like, shot of, like, the rubble flying past him as he's, like, protecting the girl. Again, maybe it's the way they shot it, the frame rate, the shutter speed or what, but again, it just looks like it was shot for TV. Okay, this is just James Gunn and the editor being very sneaky, because if you look at like the bottom corner of the shot, you will see a bunch of people running away from the big monster swiping his tail and bringing forth all this like rubble and, you know, trees and cars and stuff towards them. They should be dead, but you cut to the shot of Superman saving the squirrel, and they're gone. They're not there. But, like, realistically, they should be there and they should be dead. I don't get it. So Superman will, you know, take time out of his day to save the squirrel, but not the peep. See what I mean? It's just a bit silly. But also, don't take this as me complaining that he saves a squirrel. I like that he saves a squirrel. Superman would do that in the comics. But at the same time, too, don't have people running away from the monster towards said squirrel and not show me Superman saved the people as well as the squirrel. Also, Superman says that he wishes that the Justice Gang didn't kill this creature. They could have sent it to like an interdimensional or space zoo, whatever the hell he says. But he doesn't do anything to stop them from killing the monster. Like, maybe he doesn't know what Mr. Terrific's T-spheres do, but at the same time, like, they're going into his stomach. Like, what do you think they were gonna do? And also, too, he doesn't really make an effort to stop that from happening. He kind of just goes, huh? What are they doing? He doesn't do anything. But at the same time, too, I do like Superman's empathy towards the creature dying.
Come on.
Like, he wanted to find a better solution. That is very Superman. Why would Superman put the monster down like that? So he has to crawl out from under it. Bit weird.
This has to be BS.
You know, if this whole plot thread surrounding the elves, this change to Superman's law, and the way it affects Superman's public perception, it doesn't really, like, play into the film that much. Like, we don't see Superman's public perception that much, apart from they just go, yay, woo! And so when this message comes out and they all turn against him, it's kind of like, okay. And also, I do not like this change to the elves at all, making them send Kal-El to Earth so that he can take over and rule and, you know, breed and spread more Kryptonian DNA throughout the galaxy. That's not what the elves stand for. Like, James Gunn in his movie commentary has talked about the change and he said that it's going to remain canon, but like, That kind of just goes against like the core principles of Superman. Like the whole point is that both of his parents tell him that he is there to do good. Like it's a change I don't like at all.
They're not gonna say it's legit unless they are sure.
Again, all this stuff is very lazy and lacks a bit of logic. Like, why is Mr. Terrific so certain that these top experts in linguistics, they know Kryptonian? Like, huh? This is just a bit dumb. But even then, that flying shot isn't shot, like, it's shot with a wide lens, but, like, at the same time, too, it looks like it's covered in CGI, like, a ugly movie. Very ugly movie. Okay, so the music playing in the background, I remember at the time people were like, this is gonna confirm the Robert Pattinson's Batman's in the DCU. When realistically, it's just the president or prime minister of Moravia just, like, walking through the hallway. I think it's so funny. Like, fans were getting so hyped over nothing.
Would you like a coffee?
Where's the dog?
Dog?
I remember when they released this scene out to the public, and I was very conflicted on it. I was like, I'm sure in the film it'll make sense, but, like, as a solo clip to release as promotional material for this film, it's very baffling. Because, again, in the film, it plays perfectly fine, but, like, for some reason, in terms of, like, marketing this film, it just made Superman look really unhinged. And there was just a bunch of, like, unnecessary fan backlash and just... James Gunn, you're head of DC Studios, like, please pick your clips way more carefully. Nitpick, shouldn't that have, like, flown out the window to show that Superman is incredibly strong? Unless Lex Luthor has some, like, crazy strong glass in his building.
I don't know what dog you're talking about. Ugly dog and a cape.
Nicholas Hoult is so good as Lex Luthor, though. Like, you can just see the hatred he has for Superman, but also, too, how, like, nonchalant he's trying to be in the scene. He's, like, the definition of a hater, and he's so good.
Ugly dog and a cape.
What did you say?
Do you remember when people were just like, how did Superman not hear that? He did hear that. That's the whole point. Like, do people not know about intimidation tactics? Like, what is God? Like, there are things to criticize in this movie, but, like, stuff like this, no. What? That's nitpicking to, like, the highest degree.
Can't say I'm surprised, Clevis.
Okay, cool. Peacemaker has a cameo. I have no attachment. I still haven't watched Peacemaker. I just, oh, look, John Cena's in the film. Yeah. But why is Superman not dealing with the interdimensional imp? Like, he should be doing that. Like, no. I don't care. Comic book Superman, regardless or not he's having a bad day, he will go and fight the imp.
You trust everyone and think everyone you've ever met is, like, beautiful.
I don't get it. James Gunn does understand Superman to the core fundamentally, but, like, there are certain choices he makes in this film that are just so weird, but, like, you can tell he understands Superman. The dialogue in this scene showcases he understands Superman. Apparently they changed this in the edit, but this film was actually meant to be structured but differently. It was meant to have days of the week, so there's certain periods in this film where text would have flashed up on screen being like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Kind of wish they didn't get rid of that, and I don't really know why they got rid of that. This shot in particular, I really wish that the suit was just way more simpler in design, and they got rid of that stupid collar. Like, this suit was so close to being perfect. Also, there are, like, certain details in this film that are weird, like Mr. Handsome. He's apparently Lex Luthor's first attempt at a human clone, but I don't explain that. Okay, so the stuff with the monkeys, again, you can tell that James Gunn is, like, a writer that gets very much inspired by his surroundings and real-life events, because this is him, like, in response to internet trolls, basically going, like, people troll and hate on me, I'm gonna, like, troll on them in my film.
Hi.
Hey, Eve.
Okay, so the stuff with Jimmy Olsen and Eve in this film, I don't like it. I don't like the portrayal of Jimmy Olsen's relationships, because I think the actor that plays Jimmy is fantastic and, like, pitch perfect and spot on, but for some odd reason in this film, James Gunn writes Jimmy Olsen to be a dickhead. Especially the way he treats Eve, like, I really don't get it. Like, I get it, Jimmy doesn't like Eve, but the way he, like, treats her and, like, talks to her, it's really bad. And it's so unlike Jimmy Olsen. Okay, so this is where I'm going to start complaining about the Hall of Justice and the whole, like, Justice Gang thing. So, the Hall of Justice existing before the Justice League is very weird, and I don't like it. Because, again, it doesn't make the appearance of the Justice League feel special, like this is, like, a superhero team that is, like, going to change the world. No, like, this stuff's already made for them. Secondly, I don't like the name Justice Gang because it's pretty lame. Like, it's very juvenile of like, oh yeah, we've got a gang of superpower beings. What's their team name? The Justice Gang. It's just a bit lame, to be honest.
We are also of the cloth.
I do like that. I think that's pretty fun. Also, I like Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. Now, if I'm gonna nitpick here, that is not the Guy Gardner haircut. People make fun of Guy Gardner's haircut in the comics because it's this very extreme skin fade on the sides with like this kind of like weird looking middle part. The haircut they chose for the film is not similar to Guy Gardner's haircut. Like, yes, they make fun of it.
That haircut should be against your vows.
But it's not the haircut from the comics.
You have a flying saucer, but you couldn't get a faster garage door?
Ha 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 ha, very, very funny, ha ha. I won't lie, this is the part of the film where I kind of like lose a bit of interest. Like, I actually think the first half of this film is way stronger than the second half. Like, all this stuff with Superman and Mr. Terrific and Metamorpho and Baby Joey and like the Proton River is just, it's a bit geeky for me. I don't really care. I kind of just like check out. And it's not bad that it's geeky. It's just that I don't really care. And of course, James Gunn has to put in like this very like artsy or wannabe artsy one take of like Lois being like, oh, what's Mr. Terrific doing? As Mr. Terrific is beating up all the LexCorp goons. And it's set to a very funky soundtrack. Like, it's just James Gunn doing James Gunn stuff. This film kind of shows his like unversatility as a director. Like, he's like adhered to certain different things that aren't in his usual style, like the character of Superman. But then for the most part, it kind of like is trying to like fit itself into James Gunn's style.
Well, no, Crypto, let's squash the baby.
Ha 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 ha, Crypto's a bad dog because he breaks stuff all the time, ha ha. This is gonna be a nitpick, but Superman just blew his super breath into a black hole, but like, how does that physics? That doesn't physics. He's like blowing air into a vacuum so there would be no resisting force to push them back. Like, huh? This shot though is very cool. This is very graphic novel-esque. Like, I would imagine seeing this in a graphic novel. That's pretty cool. I do kind of like how like petulant Lex is in this film. It's kind of fun, although I do hope the more we see him, the more he kind of grows out of that like petulantness and becomes a bit more like stoic and hardened, and that like petulant rage becomes something more darker and more sinister. I won't lie, as much as I dislike the way Jimmy treats Eve, I do kind of like his little like victory celebration in this. It's kind of funny. I also do kind of like this scene where Lois takes Superman to the Kent farm and she's like in his room as he recovers. And she's kind of just like looking around going like, oh, this is Clark. Like, in many ways, this is the scene where she like falls in love with Clark completely. Oh, this shot just irritates me. I mean, one, wide angle lens, but two, they're not even like properly like centered in the frame. Like, this is a nitpick, but like, it bugs me. I do like this scene between Clark and Pa Kent though, because again, it kind of just proves this idea that although Superman's parents wanted him to do something different, the way he interpreted that message into a more positive, bright, optimistic view of it being like, yes, you are here to do good, you are here to help humanity. Even though he didn't know the context of the second message, it just shows the character and the type of man Clark wants to be, and Pa Kent is there to help Clark realize that. I do like that. Even though I don't like that James Gunn changed the origin of the elves and made them evil, for the sake of the story that he's trying to tell, especially with this moment here, it works for the film.
Superman! Superman! Superman!
Are you really telling me this isn't Palestine coded? Like, really? But no, this moment here is really cool, and I do like it. My only thing is that Superman doesn't show up in the end to the Jahamporians. Like, he doesn't even have to save the day because the Justice Gang do, but like, he should be here. And of course he's in Metropolis dealing with the whole like black hole rift stuff. I don't mind that. But it's the fact that even after the third act, he doesn't show up and be like, I'm sorry guys, but I'm here to help. I don't know, it's a bit weird. Like, they put so much of their faith in Superman, but he just doesn't show up at all.
Buckle up, kids.
Why don't I ever see?
So the stuff with Lois and the Daily Planet gang using Mr. Terrific ship and stuff, like, this is so just like ham-fisted. We have to give Lois Lane something to do. So she's doing something, but like, we have to bring in the Daily Planet gang because we've neglected them for so long. Alright, it's just a bit weird. That being said though, Rachel Brosnahan still absolutely kills it.
This is a mandatory evacuation.
And again, so much of this commentary of like, oh, the citywide evacuation stuff, it's all commentary against Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, but it's just a bit silly. Like, you're telling me all these buildings are collapsing. Every single one of these buildings have nobody in it. They're all empty. I don't believe that. Dun, dun, dun. It's a pretty cool shot of Superman aura farming. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, so this whole stuff with the engineer and her nanites, like, choking out Superman. What makes them stop? Because, like, the nanites are still in a system, especially when the engineer gets incapacitated. But is the reason why they don't kill him is because the engineer is knocked out and they're not working anymore? I think that's the reason. It's a bit unclear.
Cloning you was relatively simple. All it took was combing the aftermath of your battles until I located the strand of your hair.
So in many ways, this version of Ultraman is like Nuclear Man. That's kind of fun.
10Y, 13B.
Again, I mentioned this earlier, but like all the video game commands, it's a bit weird. Like, how is Superman not reacting fast enough to stop Ultraman's hits? Like, it doesn't make sense when you think about it.
Brain beats wrong!
Again, I love Nicholas Hoult in this film. Like, his performance is so good. It really elevates the kind of like mediocre-ish writing of Lex. There is a bunch of logic gaps in like Lex's plans and like the way he like uses Ultraman and such. But Hoult sells it to, like, the nth degree. Again, what are we doing here, James Gunn? Like, it's just weird.
I'm not like Superman.
So Hulk Girl just committed murder, and she also just killed a political figure. Like, there's no repercussions to this, like, at all. Like, morally, Gurkus may have deserved it, but, like, that doesn't work. Like, she's celebrated as a hero by the end of the film, but like, she committed murder. Like, isn't that a war crime or something? My envy is a calling. It is the sole hope for humanity, because it is what has driven me to annihilating you. 1A! Again, that whole bit right there is just Nicholas Hoult going for gold. His performance is so good. Like, Gunn's writing, like, although to the core, it's very much the essence of Lex Luthor, it's very heavy-handed and very exposition-heavy and very on the nose. Like, Lex is just gonna tell Superman how he feels, what really drives him. The writing there, like, although it's, like, pretty well done as, like, a monologue, it's a bit, like, on the nose and a bit weak. But Nicholas Hoult sells the hell out of it. It's so good. Like, the little, like, air punches as he's, like, it's so good.
Sorry, chum.
David Corenswet, that's Superman. He's so good. I love how like Golden Age and like Goofy, genuinely brilliant.
Good luck with that.
I've seen so many people like praise this sequence, being like, oh, it's so hopeful, so inspirational. It's this is what made me love Superman. I'm like, it's just a bunch of CGI gobbledygook. Like, to me, that's not impressive. Like, the thing that only really, like, carries it is the score. And also, the CGI isn't amazing to me either.
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff. That is such a Star-Lord line. Like, that doesn't feel like a quip Superman would say. Superman, I imagine, would just, like, either not say anything or kind of just go, huh. But, like, him making a full-on, like, Star-Lord-esque quip, like, nah. Get out of here. Also, it's pretty cool that they set up Ultraman to become Bizarro. At least that's what I'm assuming is gonna happen.
Piece of shit. Alien!
That is where you've always been wrong about me, Lex. I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared. I wake up every morning and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and I try to make the best choice that I can. I screw up all the time. But that is being human. And that's my greatest strength.
Is it possible to both love and dislike something at the same time? Because everything Superman just said is what Superman would say. That is the essence and core of Superman. But it's the way he's been told to deliver it. There's that famous clip of James Gunn directing David Corenswet because David Corenswet didn't get the scene. He didn't get the performance that James Gunn wanted. And again, this just shows that James Gunn is a brilliant director. He made David understand the essence of the scene, what he wanted from the scene. Like, Gunn is a good director, but my issue with it is the way Gunn wanted it to play. Superman here, he just sounds a little bit whiny, even though I love the speech. I genuinely do. I love the way Corenswet delivers it. I've watched this moment so many times. I genuinely do love it. But when I think of the character of Superman delivering the speech, he would be all like, that's where you've always been wrong about me, Lex. I'm as human as anyone. Like, think of Tim Daly in the Justice League cartoon. He's way more centered. Like, here, this Superman just feels like he's very annoyed. Lex just triggered him and he's gonna yell this stuff at him because I'm more human. Like, you have to understand, I'm more human than you. Again, I have very complex feelings toward this because I do love it. I just also don't love the way it's directed. Also, I do love the meme where, like, it's like every time Superman moves his head, Lex is just, like, blinded by the sun. It's just like, ah! I think what also sours me to this scene is that just when I think Lex and Superman are about to have a very meaningful and powerful exchange, it gets ruined because, we have to make Crypto the bad dog that, you know, hurts and abuses Lex because, it's very funny. But like Lex and Superman were like literally at odds. They were like going to have a very deep philosophical argument or debate. But nah, we have to have the dog fight Lex Luthor and like beat him up. Why? Like genuinely why? This could have been such a good and powerful moment, but we undercut it for the sake of humor. Also, Superman just doesn't do anything. He just stands and watches Crypto do all this.
Justice Gang? That's a cool name. You're in.
No, it's not. But that is funny though. Oh, it's so romantic with the score and the way it's shot and lit. Yeah, it's thumbs up. This is pretty good. I really like this.
Four's a name.
So is Gary.
I love how, like, in the behind the scenes, David Corenswet, like, lost his mind over that. Like, I think it's funny.
Where's my dog?
Oh, Millie Alcock. Millie Alcock. That is pretty good casting for Supergirl. I don't know anything about Women of Tomorrow, but, like, I'm excited to see that film because of Millie Alcock.
Yeah, Gary. That'd be nice.
I do like the sort of payoff to the joke that Superman calls for Gary. It's kind of fun. And this ending scene is very sweet where he's looking at all of his childhood memories as Clark Kent with the Kents. Like, yeah, they're his real family. Why are we doing that wide angle lens though? Please stop. I'm a punk rocker, yes I am. And I do like that we end the film with Superman smiling at the camera because I feel like that is like a cinematic tradition. But those were my thoughts on James Gunn's Superman. Again, I think the film is just fine. I don't think it's the worst thing ever, and I also don't think that it's the best thing ever. And I acknowledge that some of the points I've raised in this are nitpicks. There are changes that James Gunn has made to the Superman canon, and the changes that I disagree with. But the good in this film is also very good. David Corenswet, I think, is perfect casting for Superman, and I genuinely cannot wait to see what he does with this character. For however long he plays this character, I know that we're in good hands, because genuinely, his love and soul for this character, his passion for the character, it just oozes through. And not to mention, I think he genuinely plays him perfectly. Like, every issue I have with this Superman has nothing to do with him. Rachel Brosnahan, I think, is also pitch perfect, same with Nicholas Hoult. There's a lot of really good in this film. There are also just some things in this film that I just can't stand. Like, the cinematography just isn't nice to me. There's a lot of weird and baffling artistic choices. And there are certain moments where I can ignore it because, like, the score will kick in and it'll be, like, really cool. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. But at the same time, too, I'm not blind to the faults of this movie like certain fans are on the internet. They'll praise the ever-living hell out of this film, acting like it is like super genius. But then you've also got the other side of the argument, the Snyder Cultists, that just like won't let people enjoy this movie because it's not Zack Snyder, it's not Henry Cavill, Warner Brothers ruined the brand. It's exhausting. Like, DC fans, chill. Like, seriously, I'm really bored of it. This constant back and forth, this constant argument of, oh, my interpretation's better, no, this interpretation's better. It's so tiring. Like, genuinely, I want DC fans to unite, to get along, and I want us to enjoy Man of Tomorrow. But those are my thoughts on James Gunn's Superman. What do you guys think about the film? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on social media, and until we meet again, I'll see you guys next time. 'Cause I'm a punk rocker, yes I am.